You're getting ready to sell your home. You're probably thinking about the staging, the photos, the curb appeal, all the things that make a great first impression. But what if I told you the most important prep work is actually the part buyers never even see? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the legal details that truly protect your investment and make sure your sale goes off without a hitch.
Let me ask you this. When you think about the whole process, what do you think is the biggest headache? Is it all the showings, the back and forth negotiations, or just keeping the place spotless all the time?
Well, for so many sellers, the real stress doesn't come from any of that. It's the mountain of legal paperwork that underpins the entire deal. It can feel overwhelming, but trust me, we're going to make it simple today.
See, this is what I call the hidden side of selling. Your success, protecting your hard-earned equity, and frankly, your own sanity, it all really hinges on one thing. You got to understand the rules of the game before you start playing.
The good news? You can totally master this. We're going to break it all down into a super simple checklist that's built on 3 fundamental pillars. If you get these right, you are building your sale on a rock-solid foundation.
And here they are. It's this simple. Number 1, honest disclosures. Number 2, clear contracts. And number 3, firm timelines. These 3 things are the entire framework for a smooth, predictable, and successful sale. So let's dive into each one.
All right, first up, the seller's disclosure. This is basically your formal statement about the property's condition and its history. And here's where a little mindset shift is so important. Your transparency is what builds trust. The whole point isn't to pretend you have a perfect house, it's to be perfectly clear about the house you actually have.
So what does that look like in the real world? Well, it could be anything from that roof patch you had to do 5 years back to the last time you had the septic system serviced. Even something that seems kind of minor, like how the backyard gets a little marshy during a heavy rain, that's a drainage quirk worth noting. Being honest here prevents huge arguments later over what lawyers call material defects. Basically, any issue that could make a buyer think twice.
Now, that honesty in your disclosure leads us right into our second pillar, the contract. Think of it this way. If your disclosure builds the trust, the contract is the official rule book for the whole sale. It spells out everybody's rights, their responsibilities, and crucially, the deadlines. And this is exactly why you have to read that rulebook. For instance, you need to understand something like a home inspection contingency. That just gives the buyer a set amount of time to inspect the property and maybe renegotiate or even back out. Knowing what that means for you gives you control. It gets rid of surprises and saves you from that last-minute panic.
And that brings us to pillar number 3, timelines. A real estate deal is really just a series of connected deadlines. The buyer's deposit is due by one date, the inspection has to happen within a specific window, and it all marches toward the final closing. If just one of these dates slips, the whole deal can start to feel a little wobbly. Staying organized isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely critical.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how do these 3 pillars actually work together when things get real? Let's check out a real-world case study from Lakeville, Massachusetts that shows this legal prep in action.
So here's the scene. We've got this lovely home, a really charming cape, but it had a known issue, a history of some minor settling in the foundation. Now, this is exactly the kind of thing that can spook a buyer or, even worse, turn into a legal nightmare after the sale.
So the seller had a pretty clear choice. They could take the easy way out, don't say anything, cross their fingers the inspector misses it, and risk a huge legal headache later. Or they could take the smart way out, be completely upfront about it, and build trust from the get-go. And you know what? That is exactly what they did. They chose the smart path. They didn't just mention the issue, they provided everything. They had photos, they had receipts from repairs, and they wrote out a clear explanation of what happened and how it was handled. They literally put all their cards on the table.
So what was the cost of all this transparency, in terms of legal fights or arguments or angry phone calls after the closing? 0. Zilch. Nothing. Their upfront honesty completely eliminated any reason for a future problem.
And the result was exactly what every single seller dreams of. The buyer saw the disclosure, they really appreciated the honesty, and they moved forward feeling totally confident. The deal closed fast, it was smooth, and there wasn't a single stressful moment over that foundation. Transparency really paid off.
This story brings us to our final and I think most important takeaway. All this legal prep, all this paperwork, it's not just a chore you have to check off a list. It's a direct investment in your financial future and, maybe more importantly, your own peace of mind.
So let's just recap why this matters so much. First, it protects your single biggest asset.
Second, it actually makes your negotiating position stronger because you're coming from a place of confidence. Third, it builds that crucial trust with buyers, which makes them feel secure in their decision. And finally, it saves you from expensive, exhausting headaches down the road.
When you boil it all down, it comes back to this one simple idea. The clarity you provide today is what prevents the headaches tomorrow. Every bit of effort you spend being organized and honest up front pays off tenfold by eliminating stress and problems later on.
So as you get ready for your sale, just ask yourself this one question. By focusing on your disclosures, your contracts, and your timelines, you're not just selling a house, you're making sure the entire process is built on a true foundation of confidence.